Star Trek The Next Generation on Blu-ray, Season 1. This is episode Skin of Evil. This is a really sad one. Also, this is day 25 of 30 of my 30 days of Star Trek reviews. So thank you for sticking with me thus far. Let's do this. Here's kind of an odd thing. Look at the red spots that are, or the spots that are normally red on the warp nacelles. I wonder if they just didn't do this pass.
Shuttlecraft 13
See that?
carrying Deanna Troi, who is returning from a conference, because engineering is involved in...
Yeah, so I don't know what's up with the nacelles not being lit for that shot. I don't think it's supposed to be on purpose. Okay, Picard just said they're waiting for Troi to come back on a shuttle because she was attending a conference. I just realized that if they would have attended the conference over Zoom, that this whole episode would not have happened. Here's my audience for my video. He's watching me. This creep is also watching me. Then you have her lurking about. Okay, of course, in spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, Tasha Yar's last episode, of course they would introduce some incredible chemistry between her and Worf.
The martial arts competition is in 3 days. Are you prepared?
I will be if you'll meet me on the holodeck later. I need your help with the Mishiyama wrist lock and break. If it works on you, I can use it on anyone.
A valid assumption.
Anyway, so they're having this conversation, and it's like, oh my gosh, these guys have so much chemistry. Even if it's just friend chemistry, it's very believable, and their characters, you could totally see being like really good buds, if not more than that. And so for them to put this at the beginning of the episode, it's a little bit cruel. It's going to get your heartstrings later. And here we get the very creepy, very awesome reveal of the armas, Skin of Evil. Look at this thing.
What is it, number one? What are you seeing? Trouble.
That is creepy. And awesome looking. So now you have Riker trying to reason with this thing and get some Federation beliefs.
It's very important to us.
Why?
We believe everything in the universe has a right to exist.
Aw.
An interesting notion which I do not share. You may leave now, if you wish.
All right, here we have Tasha Yar just doing her duty, trying to get to the people in the shuttle to help them,
We have people who need
acting
attention.
with no violence
We
whatsoever.
won't hurt you, but we must help them.
All right, so you have Beverly Crusher doing her initial triage here, and it's really dramatic, and Riker's holding her head, and Data is totally showing emotion throughout this whole process. He's trying to hide it, and it's very subtle, but he's absolutely showing emotion. Look at Data's face.
What's Lieutenant Yar's condition? Dr.
See, look at
Crusher,
that.
report.
She's dead.
Data is super worried. I mean, everyone is not happy, but it's always interesting to see Data showing emotion because he doesn't have emotions. So you got Worf reacting to what just happened to Tasha on the bridge right here. And then it goes to the sickbay, and it suddenly goes to handheld camera and is like a really dramatic doctor attempting revival scene. And it is really intense.
Stethoscope.
But up to this point in the series, you're watching it and you're just like, oh, they got it. We're going to fix her. Be okay. It's all intense music and
Neurostimulator lock.
handheld camera. So Beverly Crusher says, inject Norep. Right here. Look at the subtitles. See that? And I was like, what is that? So it turns out it's a fictional, of course, it's Star Trek, but it's a fictional injection. So it's Norepinephrine. So the EP at the end is for epinephrine, so it's norepinephrine, short for norep. Anyways, something you're using to try and wake someone up and stimulate them to come back to life. But that's what the chemical is. I looked it up. So you've got Picard, Riker, and Data watching helplessly as Beverly and her team are trying to save her. And again, look at Data's face here. Doesn't look like an emotionless android to me. All right, I don't want to kill the very serious mood here, but what is this blob of makeup with these round edges? It looks like the Nickelodeon logo. Like, seriously, what is this? Is that supposed to be where she got struck or some bruise or something? I mean, come on. It's dark, deep red, so it looks like a scary blood thing, but when you look close, it's got these weird, silly, rounded edges. I don't know what's with that makeup. I know it was an alien that got her, so it could be the alien's little print left behind, but I kind of kills it a little. It kind of hurts the moment a little bit, this cheesy makeup here. Okay, and here's Beverly saying something that no one wants to hear.
She's gone.
Look at these guys. That is their reaction on hearing it. It was a sad bunch. And that was basically my reaction when I was watching on the couch. Maybe a little more dramatic. I was holding it back pretty hard. Look at Data. That forehead. I don't know if this guy needs an emotion chip. Except for one person in the comments said that maybe the emotion chip enhances the emotions that are already there. Can't remember who it was. But someone said that. And I think it's right. All right. And as is unavoidable with me, here is a Star Trek customizable card game card of Armas, Skin of Evil, malevolent being formed when the inhabitants of Vagra 2 rid themselves of all the evil they have inside. Kills one away team member, random selection, discard dilemma. That is brutal. Doesn't really seem like you can stop it. It's just going to kill somebody. Anyway, it's cool how that, like the theme of the TV show actually comes to pass in the mechanics of the game. So that's a cool card. So we have Troi back in the crashed shuttle because she wouldn't attend the conference on a Zoom meeting. And she's been communicating with this Armas creature. And he asks her if he's surprised that she knows that Tasha just died. Oh, I hate saying that sentence. But listen to what she says.
I felt her die.
Do you want to know why I killed her?
Your answer would be meaningless. That act had no reason.
Exactly. It had no meaning. I did it because I wanted to.
All right. So there's a lot of people that are pretty upset with her death having no meaning. And I get that it had no reason for this guy. But as far as no meaning goes, I don't think that's actually true as far as the episode and the series goes. So first of all, that is a stupid way to die. We'll just get that out of there. But as far as the no meaning goes, there's no meaning right here with the Armas character. But the meaning for her dying for the series is that it absolutely solidified that this crew is a family and that each one of them is important and that each one of them has something to offer the others. And we'll see that in the funeral scene at the end. So there's that meaning for the series. And then also for the audience, it's actually a hugely cathartic send-off to where someone, like the strongest character, can get killed, and it ups the stakes for everyone else going forward. Not that they're going to make a habit of killing characters, but it does have meaning for the audience and getting them to feel something very seriously with this brand new TV show. And then, again, just have them be a family and have higher stakes going forward. So this is actually pretty awesome. All the scenes with Troi in the shuttle are actually pretty awesome because she totally holds her own against this totally senseless evil being. Like, she's like psychoanalyzing it, and getting it to face its fears, basically. So she's doing an awesome job in this episode as well. So the main crew, main officers are basically mourning, and they're not mourning right now, but they're very upset what happened. And Picard gains order by tapping his finger on the table, and then tells them to
Lieutenant Yar's death is very painful for all of us.
deal with
We
it
will have
later,
to deal
basically.
with it as best we can for now. Until the shuttle crew is safely beamed aboard this ship, our feelings will have to wait. Is that understood?
And Worf's gonna get a kind of promotion, or side grade,
Lieutenant Worf,
maybe.
you're now acting chief of security.
I will do my best, sir.
So that is the role that we are used to seeing Worf in, is in the acting chief of security, or I guess chief of security. So they've got to get the people out of the shuttle, and they decide that they're going to go down there again. And it's just like, that's a hard decision, because maybe every time they're going to go there, Armas is going to just kill one of them. I don't know. Their reasoning, like, they really want to get their people, and they're like, we got to go back down there. And it makes sense that Geordi thinks he can, like, see stuff with his visor. But it's just hard for them to just be like, yep, let's go back down. Like, same exact tactic. Hopefully one of us doesn't die. Anyway, so they're getting there. Riker's getting his away team ready. And he's like, Worf, let's go. Like, you're the chief of security. And Worf actually makes what I interpret as a super mature decision, because I think he would want to go fight that thing.
I will remain on the ship.
Everyone's like,
The object here is not to engage the creature in battle. The goal is the safe return of Counselor Troi and Lieutenant Prieto. I can best accomplish this at the tactical station.
nice. So very mature of Worf, because I think he's pissed that Tasha got killed by this thing, and he would want to go fight it with his bare hands until he died, and would probably be very happy doing so. So very mature of him to stay behind on the ship like this. Okay, just a few more cool, quick points before we get to the funeral, because there's some really good stuff there I want to talk to you about. But look at this. Look at Riker's face sticking up out of the black goo. That's so cool. This episode in particular has some kind of strange orbit shots. Like this one right here. It's moving this. It's moving that way. Like the nacelle that's closer to you would be moving towards you. And so it kind of comes off like the ship is keeping its front facing the planet, and like the back of the ship is, don't touch the TVU. It's like the back of the ship is like fishtailing around the planet. Like it's such a weird orbit. I don't really see this in other episodes. And there's a few other shots where they show like the Enterprise moving around the planet, and it just has this like weird like sliding around instead of like a purposeful flying straight around. I don't know. I probably dedicated too much time to the weird orbit. So speaking of Troi doing a really good job holding her own, and also speaking of crew members making very mature choices, you have Troi here offering herself to Armas to release Imzadi or Riker. But Armas detects that he's special to her, but she says that she would give herself up for any crew member, and that is pretty cool and pretty noble. So we have Armas toying with the crew again, or the away team again, and he's threatening to kill one of them, and he's having Data point his phaser at them, and it's really awesome, him pointing his phaser. It looks very convincing that he's being controlled by someone else. But he makes Beverly choose who's going to die, and she says, then I choose me. And so all these crew members keep showing these super ultra noble traits. But one thing that is cool that Data ends up saying is he tells the creature that it should be destroyed. And for a Federation person to actually say that is pretty big stretch, because they always try to, like Riker said earlier, everything in the universe deserves to exist. And I do think it's really cool when they decide that it's time to just kill something. Okay, Riker finally gets out of the goo, and look at him. He's totally covered. He's covered head to toe. That is some Jonathan Frakes dedication right there. I love that. That's one thing that I think through all the Star Trek series is that I've seen is that the people go full dedicated. Like even if they're giving the hammiest lines, like they're fully dedicated to the part, which just makes it more fun and more believable. What are you doing? What are you doing? So this is Tasha Yar's funeral now that everybody's been rescued safely. And it's a total tearjerker, for weak emotional people. Humans and Romulans. And me.
Hello, my friends. You are here now watching this image of me because I've died. It probably happened while I was on duty, and quickly, which is what I expected. Never forget I died doing exactly what I chose to do. What I want you to know is how much...
Okay. So she goes on to talk about how much she loves her life and she loves her job and she knew that she could possibly die like this. And she goes through everyone that's here. So everyone that's here is Troi, Riker, Crusher, Little Crusher, as in Wesley, Picard, Worf, and Geordi. So like everybody is there. And she goes through them one by one and says what she learned from them. And it is beautiful. And all of their reactions, are spot on and really bring the emotions out. This is a very, very well done scene, and it is a really good send off. And I'm sad that she didn't stick with the show because her character could have been awesome. However, I wonder if her character has such a legacy because she had such a short and powerful run with such an incredibly cathartic ending. But the two things that stand out to me the most, well, the whole thing, gosh, but of this little funeral are her message to Troi and her message to Picard. Okay, her message to Troi is beautiful and has great meaning here. However, the opposite of it is kind of what's wrong with modern heroines in modern movies. Girl heroes, if you don't know what that is.
Deanna, you are capable of so much love. You taught me without ever having to say a word.
Specifically right here.
I realized I could be feminine
What?
without losing anything.
Okay, that's a huge deal. So Tasha Yar, I think you could argue this. I think she's the toughest person on the ship. Like maybe her and Worf would be neck and neck, but I think she's absolutely the toughest person on the ship. And what happens in modern movies is you have a modern female hero that is just super good at everything and has no personality and basically just acts like a dick. Literally and personality wise, they just are they're kind of just like a mean guy, and that's bad writing and it's not true, and that's not a good example for boys or girls. It's just some powerful female that they've given like the worst aggressive male traits to. So the fact that Tasha Yar says to Troi that she could be feminine without losing anything, I think is beautiful and perfect, and it's good writing for Tasha's character, also for Troy's character, because Tasha, like I said, she's the toughest person on the ship, and yet she could be feminine and not lose anything. That is the pinnacle, in my opinion, of the female hero. Is they are still differentiated. They don't just have these like aggressive masculine traits. They're still themselves, and they can still be feminine without having to just be a generic, no flaws, boring character that we see nowadays. So Tasha Yar is an awesome female character. She's very, I think she's well-rounded. And this little message says so here. And here's her message to Picard. It's absolutely beautiful and appropriate. She talks about him being her dad, but she doesn't know because she never had a dad. But then she goes into more, and this is good here.
But if there was someone in this universe I could choose to be like, someone who I would want to make proud of me, it's you. You who have the heart of an explorer and the soul of a poet.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. Every second of this episode is good. I seriously think I could do an audio commentary on this whole episode. This video is already half the length of the episode anyway. No, her message to Picard is awesome. She wants him to be proud of her. And, you know, she says she doesn't know what it feels like to have a dad. She hit it on the nose right there. She wants him to be proud of her. And I think she knows what it feels like to have a dad because she has Jean-Luc. So the last two to leave the funeral are Picard and Data. And Data is the very last one to leave. And he just told Picard that he doesn't understand because his thoughts are not on her, but on himself because he's going to miss her so much. And Picard says, no, you got the point of it. Yeah, just incredibly emotional episode. Incredibly powerful send-off to Tasha Yar. I'm bummed that she's not on the crew anymore. And it's just going to make her appearances, her couple more appearances, that much more exciting to see. Also, the actress, having her come back as Sayla later on, it'll be cool to see her because she's a great actress. But I specifically like the flashbacks, I guess you could call them, or alternate realities where we get to see Tasha Yar again and Picard's reaction to it. Okay. This has been a very long video of day 25 of 30 of my 30 days of Star Trek reviews. So thank you so much if you stuck with me thus far. I'd love to hear from you. Don't just be a silent watcher. I'd love your feedback. I love talking to you guys down there. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. And this episode hit me really hard. Unfortunately, during the funeral, my wife totally came up and interrupted me and made me pause it to talk about garden stuff, which probably, truth be told, full on saved me from just breaking into full tears. So I was holding it back really hard, and then she made me pause it, and I was able to calm down. But great episode. Absolutely great episode. The Skin of Evil stuff is kind of stupid, but great Tasha Yar send-off. So thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.